Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time you are watching this video. Welcome back to another episode of the Down in the Valley podcast. My name is Edson Ochoa, and I am so ecstatic to be back to talk to you all once again about the RGV Red Crowns. It has been a while since I have uploaded something here on the YouTube channel, but it's been I've been very busy with a lot of things, so I just haven't had the time to be able to do the squawk. But today is a little bit different. We're back to our roots, at least for this week, because today I am not alone here. I have my good friend and co-host Jacob Young with me as well. We'll start with Jacob. We also have another good friend of the show right here as well, and that is Rey Silva of South Texas Border Sports. But let's say hi to Jacob first. Jacob, how are you doing? Tyler Derrick.
Edson, that joke will never get old because, again, I am sure, we'll go with I'm Tyler Derrick. But yeah, no, I'm doing fantastic, man. Looking to get back. That's for sure. It's exciting. It's exciting times for this team, for everything. Um, Man, this is great. I do want to say one thing real quick, just because I feel like there is something that needs to be said about this. Yes, we may have known this for a while, but there was a Twitter account that goes by the name of DITV Sports. Technically, we're not affiliated with them. I'm not, but let me be very clear when I say this. They do a phenomenal job with UTRGV Sports when they cover that. And I just want to be very fair with them because they've been nothing but nice to me. And so I just want to reciprocate it and say, hey, y'all are doing great. Shout out to them. Um, we're gonna stick we're gonna stick with soccer. We're gonna stick with the RGV Red Crowns. We are from the nest. They're just down in the valley for UTRGV Vaqueros. And yeah, that's really all that I wanted to say. But yeah, no, looking forward to the season, Edson. Looking forward to being back with you. This is a special time of year. Special time of year.
Let's go ahead and say hi real quick, just before we kind of do a little bit of small talk. But let's say hi to our good friend Rey Silva of South Texas Border Sports. Ray, how you doing?
Edson Jacob, thanks for having me along once again in this new season of RGV Red Crown season to soccer. Just to turn the page a little bit, it was great working with you guys last season, contributing along, and I look forward to doing this again in season two if given the opportunity. And it's something that it was a privilege building some sort of um, program notes for this episode.
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot that we got to cover on, but before we get to that, man, I can just okay. It's been a very long season for all of us. I just want to get your feedback on like what have you all been doing in this Red Crowns off season of like almost what 9 months, 10 months. So it's been a while. But what have you guys been up to in this Red Crowns off season?
I'll start. I've been doing just about everything, which has been really cool. Um, Stayed away from, which this is true. I covered a couple of TSC soccer matches, but stayed away from it for the most part, which probably only hurt me for one of the signings here that we'll talk about tonight. But other than that, yeah, I've just been working getting better at doing this, announcing. Uh, we've been having some fun, Edson. All three of us have been having some fun with some racing. That's been like kind of our go-to now, which is why didn't we do this like 2 or 3 years ago? All three of us, not just you and I, Edson. But yeah, no, we've been doing that. We've been having some fun. Man, I've been all over the place. I didn't go to any UTRGV football games. Let me be clear. But when basketball season rolled around, I was like, maybe I should check this out. They're on an 8-game winning streak. So met Ray, saw him, went to some games. Been fun. Been fun with some baseball. So yeah, all over the place, and I'm looking forward to it because it's only going to continue. And the summer, oh my gosh, the summer. It's going to be hot. It's going to be fun. Yeah, it's going to be windy. That's for sure. It's going to be windy.
Well, as we all learned by the NASCAR 25 game that you guys got me hooked into, the one song that I'll never forget to reference is Eddie Rabbit "Driving My Life Away," and that's what I've been doing with you guys every so often. But been covering the vast majority. Well, not been covering for FCS Nation Radio, the UTRGV football team, and then I've been doing some freelance stuff on the side, trying to narrate games just like you guys, trying to just tap my toe into the water and enjoying that aspect of it because uh, people just see sports for what they see on their TV, but in the background, there's a lot
Yeah.
more elements as you guys have learned during the off season. And Jacob, I mean, you're a big, you've seen lots of little other pieces that there's like a lot of work that goes around it and bumping into you at university games and spotting you in your pink and blue hat.
A bucket hat, man. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
But yeah, but just real quick, but yeah, just like these guys, I've been pretty busy during this off season. Obviously, want to give a huge shout out the uh, to the Red Crowns cameraman Jesse Cerda, who is also the cameraman for the Mission Veterans High School Lady Patriots, the varsity team. He actually after the season ended, or actually during the season of the Red Crowns, he was like, "Hey, Jacob and Edson, like I'd love for you guys to call the games for the Lady Patriots and stuff like that." And so I was at first I was kind of a little bit hesitant, mostly because maybe like a potential conflict of interest with my job or something like that, right? But at the end, like once the season started, I was like, you know what, screw it. This is like outside of work hours. I'm doing it for free, so I don't think there should be a problem, right? My employer. Um, so I reached out to him, and he was like, yeah. I was like, hey, is the invitation still valid, right? And he's like, yeah, dude, come on in. So I went, and yeah, basically I've been calling the games for the Lady Patriots this past season. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to playoffs, but it was a really fun experience. I actually, was doing analysis with Jacob. What was it, like 3 games, Jacob?
Something
That we
like
did.
that. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was
it
the
was.
31 5A district opener, McAllen Memorial versus Sherryland High. And
Yeah,
then the second one was the
Pioneer versus
Pioneer
Lopez,
versus Lopez, which you got
and
to
then
take over, which was fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then Memorial versus
The
what was
Memorial
her?
versus Gregory freaking Portland.
Gregory freaking
Oh
Portland.
my
Yeah,
goodness. Because
yeah,
they had some history, man. That was a fun series. It's going to be a fun series next year if they make it to the second round. It
yeah.
just
But without Kennedy
so much
Kaiser
fun.
though, that's gonna be interesting.
Without Kennedy Kaiser, but a rising star of Ava Thomas and a couple of other players that seem really good in my eyes from McAllen
We'll see.
Memorial. Not biased, but
We'll
Coach
see.
Kaiser's
But
just really good. That's my point.
yeah, we'll see. But I mean, Kennedy Kaiser did leave the bar really high. There at Memorial.
D1 athlete has the goal record for the Valley now, so
Yeah.
career goals. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
that.
And just like you guys said, I mean, this is where I realized that, you know, in order to get a broadcast done that you were able to enjoy on TV, on the internet, or whatever, it takes a lot of preparation, not just at game day, but the games before. And obviously, I learned some of that thanks to Glenn Davis, the former Houston Dynamo play-by-play announcer. I'm not going to touch that controversy with a 10-foot pole, but he did teach me a lot of things that that I actually used last year with the Red Crowns, starting to use it with the Lady Patriots as well. And I think the thing that's going to be the most nerve-wracking but fun for me is that actually this week on Thursday, I'm gonna be coaching the Lady Patriots at the Raza Soccer League, and it starts on Thursday. So that's gonna be fun as well. That's gonna put me in a situation I've never been before, but I am more than up to the task to get some experience from that aspect, and hopefully seeing, like, actually living, even though it is high school, But going through the coach's perspective might actually help me in the analysis as well, and not be like, fuera Coach Reina or something like that. But but actually knowing like all it takes to prepare for a game day from both the broadcasting side and obviously the coaching side. Obviously, just keeping everything in with its in its respective levels, right? But anyway, guys, let's get down to the nitty gritty of this. So obviously we have a couple of things we want to talk about today regarding the Red Crowns, and I think we'll get started right away with the elephant in the room, because I've been getting a lot of questions on social media from a lot of fans. If you guys have followed, if you guys haven't, be sure to go to the RGV Red Crowns YouTube channel, and be sure to check out their YouTube series, right, where Kobe talks about all of the intricate details of what it takes to be able to get a soccer team, started from the ground up. It's called, so the series is called Lower League Diaries, right? And about almost 2 weeks ago, that was the last episode that he released, the president of RGV Red Crowns, Jamal Kobe Fayyad, was talking about a bit of news that was going to cause a shakeup within the organization. And it was actually, I guess you could say, leaked a little bit prematurely without all the details by the actual mayor of Harlingen. And that bit of news actually ended up catching the attention of a newspaper in San Antonio. So basically what was reported was that apparently throughout different locations down in Harlingen, there was film crews, there were, a bunch of props, very festive, carnival looking throughout, and I think the photo that is being shown is inside of Harlingen Field in the concourse area. You can even see Rico there. Basically, there was this report, right, that there was a lot of film crews down there in in Harlingen, Texas, and that the Red Crowns were involved in it, and there really wasn't actually. So within the article, it says that the mayor of Harlingen, Norma Sepulveda, did mention on a Facebook post, and it says, quote, "That was one of the world's largest companies right here in the city of Harlingen producing a special World Cup campaign." Okay. And so it's showing like some of the some photos of multiple filming locations around Rio Grande or around Harlingen, Texas, where this film crew was taking video of Harlingen, right? And so when that article came out, obviously there were a lot of questions like, okay, so who are we talking about? Are the Red Crowns actually involved in this? Is this something official? So in this video, Kobe mentions that yes, this is official. The Red Crowns are involved in this, and this is going to be for a commercial that will be aired at the national level during the World Cup, right? So obviously, considering the words from the mayor, the words from Kobe, we could basically assume that this is a very big company that somehow the Red Crowns caught their eye and were interested in sharing the story of the team of the Valley at a national level, supposedly during the World Cup. Real quick, guys, what were your first impressions, or what do you think about this bit of news?
It's massive. It's massive. Just due to the fact of, well, I think all three of us, Edson, know. Other things in general is with talks of Kobe and with being around the RGV FC Toros back in the day and just being around soccer, we know how expensive it is to run a team. We know how expensive the prices are, even this low in the lower tier soccer levels of semi-pro. We're not even talking about League One. We're not even talking about Championship in USL, UPSL. We're talking about a lower tier league that's about as level on ground as college, because college players come over and during the summer and play a lot, which of course we'll talk about those players in a bit. But yeah, it's massive, because just the bottom line is, no matter who it is, no matter what national media company, whatever it could be, this is massive because it's going to be revenue to not only the club, but now all of a sudden Harlingen's getting revenue. Now it would make you think, if someone's investing in this club like this, just on a commercial level, you'll start to potentially grab more sponsors. Sponsors see other sponsors trying to sponsor a team. They're gonna want in. It's kind of like that, of course, a lot different, much more in depth with business or anything like that, but you're going to start to see that, hopefully. Colby also talks about that in one of his other videos about sponsorships, but that's a big thing in general. If you get that revenue, the city gets that revenue, and then the city likes you being there. All of a sudden, this just looks good for you. This looks good for the city. All of a sudden, you're going to. This is my biggest thing, Edson, that I want to have happen with this. I want to get YouTubers to want to go to a match. Yes, there are certain YouTubers that I've always wanted to be watching an RGV Red Crowns soccer match, but in general, that's a big thing. The exposure, the exposure, the exposure. That's what we want.
Ab- Absolutely, Jacob, and to follow up your both of your guys' points on this, like one of the details that Kobe did mention about this commercial that was launched on his video that was launched 12 days ago, to be specific. He did say everything was done here in Harlingen. Cup of coffee, done there in Harlingen. Uh, Everything was shot there in Harlingen, Texas. They kept everything within that Harlingen market. Like all the dollars were spent in that Harlingen market. They didn't have to go outside of Harlingen to get their shootings done, all the filming locations and everything like that. So it was a massive undertaking for the Red Crowns, their identity and their brand being represented in the national stage. So the and if there's something that this organization has done, is that they've been a little bit more open to communication uh, with people like us, media, public, and then following it up with a series of how a club in the Rio Grande Valley gets recognition and being followed up with everything else.
Another thing that Kobe mentioned, like I mentioned, like he didn't really give a lot of details. I mean, we're talking about a big organization. So obviously there's gonna be some things, behind the scenes that, some limitations about what they can and cannot reveal at this moment. But one of the things that he mentioned that this company that the team partnered with was a national bank that is known at a global level. So you can just imagine just the kind of exposure, the kind of money that this company was willing to invest in the city of Harlingen, whether it's hotels, catering, and all of that money. I think he said $250,000 was brought into the city by this company, and that apparently I think the film crew was actually also local too, if I'm not mistaken. So that much investment in the Rio Grande Valley, in Harlingen to be specific, has really got to speak volumes about how serious the team is taking their connection with the community. And hopefully that will also, translate into politicians at the city level. If they weren't supporting the existence of the RGV Red Crowns, seeing this kind of investment, and helping reinvigorate the city, I hope that that actually, changes some minds if there were people still on the fence about it, about this team.
I agree to a certain extent. Obviously, I don't want politicians too involved with the soccer team because then it gets a little weird. But that's just, me. Because we don't want a curse of all of a sudden there's a Harlingen politician that's just known to bring bad luck to teams. I just don't want that. As in, like, all of a sudden he or she or they're at every single
you mean like
RGV.
the Harlingen version of Ted Cruz?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to bring his name up, but that's my only worry. It's not even about anything else. That would be it. But yeah, in all seriousness, definitely, because you, at the same time, you do want the backing of people that can help you out, of city members that can, or city, officials that can help you out. When it really comes down to, again, big purchases, we go back to it. It's economics at its finest. It's economics right at right at the bottom of everything. Because, as all three of us know, I go back to it again. We know how expensive it is. We've talked to Colby. We just, again, it's not going to be cheap. It's not going to be cheap running this team. The goal is USL Championship. The goal is, obviously, yes, if they make it to the MLS, that would be phenomenal. But let's be real. USL Championship will probably overtake it soon. And there may be Pro Rel or whatever. I don't know. Yes, it's my bold claim. Point is, it's expensive. And
True.
we all know that you want those people behind you so that, because also the field is owned by the city. Colby has talked about this multiple times. So therefore, the city that owns it, you want their backing. You want the politicians' backing. So when you come over to them to ask for something, they won't be reluctant to give it to you. They'll be more willing to, okay, we'll vote on it, and it's most likely going to pass or something like that. So there's definitely positives with getting people like that behind them.
Just viewing all this, I'm just in awe how the Harlingen market, who hasn't had like a pro franchise in a little while, how they're embracing the world's beautiful game. I mean, they had the King of Sports there for a little while, which was their baseball stadium, and seeing that go down in 2013, 2014, and seeing it a dozen years later going back to soccer, it's just something that I would have never thought it would come back to life like that, you
Mhm.
know, and that it's getting repurposed for a different thing. It's just something that, it kind of brings that glimmer of hope that sports can still survive here if done right. And I definitely enjoy the path that Kobe is going on at this point.
But I think it also speaks volumes of how different the story is of the team, than what is the norm, that out of all the teams at any level here in US soccer, that a company as big as this national bank turned their eyes and said, you know what, this is an interesting story. Let's bring it up to everybody that's going to be watching the World Cup this year, in the 2026, FIFA World Cup, right? So it just goes to show. I think a lot of people kind of minimize their own hometown, like the Rio Grande Valley. I think even within the Rio Grande Valley, I think we've mentioned it last year, there's a lot of like bickering and memes, towards Harlingen, you know. But I think at the end of the day, if you want to change something, like, you really have to be able to revolutionize, the status quo, to be able to bring in the change that you want, and this change, and it took a soccer club, right? Obviously, it still is its infant stages, but just the fact that just like after just one season, that this team is making such an impact at the community level, I think it really, really speaks volumes. And so I'm pretty excited to see exactly what are all the details about this once they're made public, once they're completely announced, because it really shows that there is a lot of potential for it in order to get this team closer to the dreams that Kobe has mentioned so many times publicly, in his appearances, whether it's on other podcasts, at a national level, and public appearances, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Jacob, you mentioned that you passed by the stadium there recently, and there seems to be some movement there.
Yeah, I mean that's the best way to put it. There's just been some movement there. Yeah, it was around what was it, 2 weeks ago or something like that. The regional semifinals, when I had to travel up there for work and was meeting my work colleagues and stuff like that. And where we parked was a church, the church right next to the stadium. So I was early and decided to just drive by there, and all of a sudden saw some movement, saw some construction work going, and that's good signs. That's good signs. That's all I can say is, I mean, we all know that there are several plans, that I think even like we mentioned, Colby has been public about it and has said, look, this is going to be a soccer field. This is a soccer place. This isn't a baseball field to be exact. So the plan is, if possible, to make it enclosed, just like the Rowdies, and and the Timbers. I mean, that was a baseball field at one point. Point is, yeah, there was some construction, there was some movement. So I mean, hopefully, that's signs of possibly new grass, possibly more seating. Who knows? Very very exciting, and I mean, we're talking about it getting closer and closer and closer. That was early, or sorry, late-ish Marchish, somewhere around that area. It was close to April 1st. I do recall that. Point is, I'd have to look back at my notes. Anyways, yeah, so it's good stuff. There's not much else to really report on that end. Maybe if I get to go to Harlingen for baseball or something like that, I might just drop by there again. Unless there's like a fence or something like that that blocks the entrance for myself. Point is,
The
yeah,
armed guards
it's
there, they're
good.
keeping that secret close to their chest.
Exactly. But yeah, some inside reporting might have to be done soon.
But yeah, I mean that's been pretty much it, in regards to that. I wish we could give you. I wish we even knew more details about what
Hmm.
is going on in regards to Aspu. But I think from what we've been told, from what Jacob has seen, whatever the details are for this movement, for this commercial, I think it's going to have a very direct impact in the club, right? Especially given the fact that this team has ambitions to become professional, in the near future. Well, obviously he mentions like, if the community feels like they do want to go pro. I mean, they've got that, the dream of going pro. Uh, I mean, I think in the meanwhile, you could say they might want to go to the League for Clubs Pro Am once it becomes active next year. But we'll see what happens. That'll be a subject that we can tackle, the end of this season, or maybe like during the off season as we go into 2027. But what I do want to talk about right now, obviously, is the roster building that has been happening these last couple of weeks, as we get closer to the home opener on May 16th against Central Texas Coyotes. And so the last couple of days, the Red Crowns had been announcing, players that were in the roster last season that are actually returning. And I know you guys had been excited. I had been excited for a couple of these players. Ray, I mean, Ray and Jacob, the biggest comeback obviously has been, Vicente Alvarez coming back to the Red Crowns after a really good 2025 from him, that was good enough to get an opportunity to play in Mexico, right? for the season that happened after the summer, right? I believe that team that he was in was actually is actually part of the Pachuca's academy system, if I'm not mistaken, right? So he got an opportunity over there, as well as some other players that got opportunities in Mexico, right? But I mean, but just Vicente, I was going to say Vicente Sanchez, but Vicente Alvarez, coming back, Rey, from your notes here, I mean, he had a good amount of contributions, attack wise with the Red Crowns last season.
As the famous words, nunca menciones a mi Vicente Swinger, Chucho Pachuco. No, but going back, Vicente Alvarez, scored the inaugural goal for the club against Central Dallas FC last season. His other tally came against Central Coyotes. Uh, those were his two biggest contributions, and both came in key times where this team was just starting to find its identity, starting to find its footing, and you want to have players like him returning back because they provided some of that identity that the Red Crowns needed to build upon and have a foundation there in the attacking midfield this sector. And he's going to be one of those guys that come opening day, he better be at least in the starting 11 in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you for sure. You obviously said, of course, some stats. Yeah, I was on the call for all those matches where he scored. But, anyways, it just look. He is going to, and he will always be my favorite player. Look, I have a history with that man. He's my cousin's best friend. I will be very frank and very blunt about that. With that being said, and I can look straight into my camera and say, Vicente, just because of that, I'm going to be the toughest on you. And this is the truth. This has to be, and you can show all of my videos from Instagram too, because even I said, look, these are the three players from the first release of the new signings. Those are their chances. Those are every single player. This can be their breakout season. Where Vicente, yes, he got 2 goals. Okay, let's make it 6 at least, because he has that opportunity to really be that good. If not, be that playmaker that is a false 9 in a way too. Just my point is, this man is great. He got to play again across the Rio Grande River. This is the truth. He got to play in Pachuca. And so this is a man that is worth keeping an eye on and making sure that he does not skip leg day, that makes sure that he will be playing to his full potential every single match. And hey, he abandoned us to go to Pachuca. But guess what? He returned home. He returned to the nest, and that's the best feeling that any player, any fan, any media member can ever have, because he's back here once again to crush it.
So, what are y'all's expectations before we go on with the rest of the list? But what are y'all's expectations for Vicente Alvarez this season?
Simple. Expectations are high, and like I said, 6 goals at least. Really being that playmaker, being a leader on the team. Yes, of course, we'll talk about more players that will know for sure who the captain will be right off the bat. But you go back to it, it's just he's shown so much more maturity, because again, I talked about it last year. I got to cover this man or seen him play at the Toros Academy. I got to see him play on the Mackay Bulldogs soccer team. Now, granted, that was an interesting, of course, team in general, because, well, it wasn't really the player's fault of missing the playoffs for 2 straight years in a row when he was on the team. But again, I've seen his maturity. I've seen him get better and better and better. The reason why he was at St. Edwards is a big pull. That's NCAA soccer. He decided to move on from it because he felt a little bit, and I'm sure we'll talk to him more, but in my conversations that I've had with him, he felt, of course, annoyed. He wanted to have that opportunity to play pro and get paid for playing. He got paid for playing. So, again, this is maturity. This is improvement for this man. I expect big things from him this season. And, of course, we're all hoping that every single player, injury free, will be on the lineup every single match for the whole entire season.
Before we go to Ray, I just do want to mention, if you, to anybody that is watching this video, if you guys have not seen our interview that we had last season with Vicente Alvarez, be sure to check it out on the YouTube channel. It should be there, where he talks more about, his background, his story, including where he was close to giving up on his dream to becoming a pro soccer player. Really interesting story, really good watch. Be sure to check it out after you finish watching this video. But Ray, your thoughts on Vicente?
I'm expecting for him to be a key contributor in the offensive end. Despite the numbers that he posted last year, I know he was able to link up with some of the newer additions that the team had later on in the season. I'm gonna keep it a little more modest here. 4 goals, 6 assists would kind of be like my prediction along the lines. If we're because keep this into perspective, guys. The travel isn't as much as it was last year. That's the first factor you got to take in. The second factor you got to take in, the schedule's a little bit more condensed, so the opportunities, you're no longer going to have a San Antonio opponent either. So you kind of take that away. Now it's Austin and Houston. So now you got to
Oh no,
factor
not
in
Houston.
like, okay,
It's just mostly Austin
mostly Austin
and Brownsville.
and Brownsville. So
Yeah, what a far drive, what a far trip to Brownsville, man. It's gonna be the
yeah,
longest trip of the
But
season.
I do have to give kudos to the League for Clubs for making a decision to break down the Texas Conference into two. I mean,
yeah,
just that last year, it was just embarrassing, how FC Revolution just didn't show up, for the last game of the season. And I don't think they're even part of the League for Clubs anymore, right? So another one, Foro SC, también, I think they're out as well for the same reason. They just didn't bother to show up because they had their playoff match when, what was it, MPSL or UPSL? UPSL. They're
yeah.
like, you know what? Screw the Red Crowns. We want the playoffs over here. And it's like, you can't, you no puede servir a dos amos. Like you can't, you're going to be left, with nothing. Right. And they FAFO'd, right? And so now they're going to be out. And to avoid that, the League for Clubs said, you know what? Let's get some more teams and we'll try to separate, because Texas is such a big state. Let's have two different conferences for Texas. And it really, I think it really is going to help with expenses as well for these teams, that they don't have to travel all the way, to the Rio Grande Valley and vice versa from Dallas. Right. So that's pretty much it. Talking about that, the whole travel thing as well. But yeah, I think for me, Vicente, based on what you guys have talked to me and based on what we saw last season, I think, Vicente is a good player, but I do feel like he needs to be, this year, he needs to be more involved in being an participant in goals, right? Whether it's scoring the goals or assisting, goals. But I do feel that he has to bring those numbers up. And with the added experience that he got in the off season, I think I saw in his Instagram story that he actually was at New Mexico during the off season, doing some at Albuquerque, so he has been trialing, out there. But I think with that added experience, I do feel like he has to give better numbers this season, right? So from what he learned in Pachuca, and now, like, he's probably a better player, and so his stats have to reflect that added maturity, that added experience, and what he learned, this year, especially considering that he's the first signing ever for the club. So like he has like there's a lot of responsibility with being that.
Yep.
They chose him for a reason. He's a good player, right? He's from the valley. He's an attacker that's kind of explosive. Well, he has to back up that hype, in the stats page as well. So that's kind of my expectations for Vicente Alvarez for 2026. Some of the other players that were announced these last couple of days have been Diego Torres, who's been a defender, Randy Galvan from Edinburgh, Texas. He's a forward. Juan David Valencia, midfielder from Colombia. Juan Carlos Alvarez.
Mid-season addition by Juan
Yes.
David Valencia.
Yes.
He's probably the only South American player coming back. I mean, from Medellin, Colombia, plays currently for Midwestern State, a Division II school. Uh, I mean, he was just a critical asset in the defensive unit for the Red Crowns.
Yeah, especially after Corey left, right? So when Corey left to go to Carolina Core, I mean that left a huge spot in the midfield, and so they bring in Juan David Valencia to kind of help sustain that, and I think he did a decent job. Like it says here in your notes, Ray, he made his debut on a road win with FC Dallas's under 23s, and he says it
That's
played
right.
so. It says here it played 19 minutes. Is that total, Ray?
Like he took a
No,
break.
that was not.
Or just in
No,
that game?
just in that game. But then he followed it up with like four straight starts in the Red Crowns rotation, and then there was that stretch where he kind of started on the bench and then came back and contributed. But I just from like gathering and viewing all of my notes, but he did play 19 minutes in his debut for the Red Crowns.
Okay. So Juan David Valencia was, that player that came in and made an impact to help sustain that midfield for Coach Reina in the latter part of the season after
Yeah, so you can easily
Corey.
attach 500 game played minutes for the Red Crowns. I mean, one of like three or four players that reached 500, and that's it.
Yeah. hmm So I'm really excited to see him back for this season and see what he can do with the preseason starting from the beginning of this 2026 season, see what kind of impact he can bring in the midfield. Other notable acquisitions or returns, obviously Juan Carlos Alvarez, the goalkeeper. He started, as a starter with the Red Crowns at the beginning of the season in 2025. Once the team brought Jack Crichton in, he was kind of relegated to the bench, but he was still a decent keeper for the club, right? So on it'll be exciting to see if he's going to be the starting goalkeeper again, or if these next couple of days, we're going to be seeing another goalkeeper acquisition similar to Jack Crichton was last year. But
To me, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the nod in between the pipes again, because he did start that inaugural game for the Red Crowns, uh, started in five different matches. So he's now, if you make a separate category as to players that played over 400 minutes, it, there's like five players that played over 400 minutes last year with the Red Crowns. Him being one of them.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
he's a player that for me I'm excited about. I wouldn't be shocked if we do see, like you said, Edson, a not necessarily mid-season but a late signing that will be a goalkeeper just to help him out. Again, he's got a lot of learning to do. He's a phenomenal goalkeeper, as we saw. Remember, if I'm not mistaken, he finished the season between the pipes because Jack Crichton, I think, had to leave. If not, I'm thinking of the friendly. Point is, he did a pretty good job in the friendly too. So there's a lot of learning that he still has to do, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of learning for the whole team to do, and I'm excited to, of course, get with that because, I mean, there's some other players that we are very keen to see do well, Edson, between just the defense and also midfield.
Yeah, definitely. So other players have been obviously Diego Rivera, the midfielder, Emmanuel Alvarez, defender. You could, I think mostly he played right back with Coach Reina. Isaid Gomez.
Exactly. He that
Yeah.
that guy played over 600 minutes.
Hmm.
He was one of the cornerstones of that defense. If I'm not mistaken, like you said, he was part of the back line. I kind of expect for him to be etching his name into that starting lineup once opening day comes around. Now that you speak of Emmanuel Alvarez, I mean, a few players that had like a lot of the game time for the Red Crowns.
Yeah. And then others we've got Isaid Gomez, defender, made 4 starts for the Red Crowns, played a total of 360 minutes. Just go over this real quick. Said Sanchez, veterans, Mission Veterans alumnus, right? Made 3 appearances and a start for the Red Crowns. Andres Rivas, a center back, really didn't make an appearance until the FC Dallas Under 23 friendly at the end. Omar Galvan, midfielder. Joaquin Rosales, defensive midfielder. Diego Vita, defender as well. Rene Galvan Jr., also from Edinburgh, Texas, also from Economides. He is a midfielder as well. Sergio Davila, another midfielder. Kenneth Reyes, defender from Edinburgh, Texas. Kevin Zamora, forward from Harlingen. And, of course, Arev Vera was another one of those pillars of last year's defensive line of Edinburgh, Texas. It says here he started all 8 games of the season for the Red Crowns, right? But
Y-
seeing all of
Yes,
this, seeing all of this list, guys, you do see a lot. You do see that's a lot of returns, from last season, and that the most important players from last season. He talked about Emmanuel Alvarez, Aref Vera, um, obviously Vicente and Juan Carlos Alvarez. Um, we're talking about trying to maintain, a consistent lineup, a foundation that we can keep building up. We're not talking about, like, let's say the Toros, where it was a complete overhaul year after year in the lineup.
Yeah, he
absolutely.
really.
I'll take the
Okay.
baton on this one, Jacob, real quick. Uh, you know, there's you can have your goalkeeper as Juan Carlos Alvarez, but sometimes you can alternate whether you play a back three or back four lineup with the Red Crowns. I'm the type that likes to see a back four lineup, just because of the amount of minutes that's been played with that back four before. I mean, the back four that I would like to see has over 300 minutes game time played together, which is about like 4 matches. That's just like my positioning on that. And then you go to the midfield. Some work to do there, but with the addition today, you kind of like answer a couple of more questions, but you're still left with a couple of more questions to resolve. And then in the front line, well, you know what you're gonna get with the players that you have already in return, but at least there's a good foundation of players back ready to build, and they at least have at least your goalkeeper and your back four penciled in for opening day. The rest of the positions, I feel like there's going to be a lot of competition amongst the groups. I mean, you could probably pencil in 2 more players to be starters, and then from that, everything else is a toss up.
Look, I like Omar Galan in the central defensive midfielder position just due to the fact of, again, his experience in a D1 school. I talked about it last year, and then I was a little bit impressed with him this past year as well. And another year under his belt for there, playing once again in D1 soccer, getting more of those minutes, being more and more mature in that position. I think he's going to shock a lot of people right there in that position with, of course, the help, like we mentioned before we get to this crazy, crazy signing that no one thought of. And when I last saw this player play, I was about 15, 16, maybe 17 years of age, which is pretty crazy.
But yeah, but basically, with all of these players, like I said, we have a good foundation to build up, and this is just returning players, right? So we don't know, outside of today's signing, we don't know who else is going to come in, to this team in order to compete and hopefully win in the league, not only in the league for clubs, but also in the Open Cup, right? For the qualifiers. Right, so that's gonna be something that we will have to see how competitive this team is this season.
Wait, that's public info? Oh yeah, that is because he announced it on one of his videos, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure because I haven't said it on any of mine, which is kind of stupid. But yeah, no, we're competing for the freaking U.S. Open Cup, which is something crazy to be exact. That might be another reason why we see this type of core group coming back as well. It's exciting right there.
You know what's interesting? He said it on the Grassroots podcast.
He did, didn't he? He did.
Yeah, he did.
And I completely
He said
missed
not
it,
for
and I was just
2026,
like,
but for 2027. But the qualifiers for
course.
2027 start late this year.
Yeah, because it's already 2026. It's in what, close to the semifinals,
Yeah, I think it's
Elite
around
Eight or
16.
something crazy.
I think we're
Round of
around
16.
Yeah,
I think
but
it's like just ending the round of 16. Point is, oh my goodness, yeah, I didn't really realize that it was coming up pretty fast too. So
yeah,
it's very exciting. Really quickly, another player that I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. That's Joke. I always get his name wrong. I always do.
Joaquin
I'm sorry. What?
Joaquin Rosales.
That's not Joaquin. That's not how you spell Joaquin. 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 That's how you spell Joaquin.
Joaquin, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. As you can tell, I'm a Hispanic white guy that doesn't know any Spanish. I had to look up Nos Vemos 2 days ago, by the way. So just
Seems
an
legit.
FYI. Yeah, seems very legit indeed.
So why are you like looking forward
Oh,
to Joaquin?
so he's from Blinn College to be exact as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's one
JUCO.
of my favorite JUCO colleges in general because just the history. I go back to it. The history of how they've run things. They've been to national championships. They've won a couple. They have a
They're
great head coach
they're just a
behind
mini
them.
powerhouse.
Exactly, exactly. And so you can learn so much just from being at that school alone for 2 years. Not to mention, then you have a real opportunity of going to a great D1 college. We're talking a Wake Forest, a Vermont, a Syracuse, even. So, yes, very excited to see how much Joaquin Rosales has improved from that year to year. Because if I'm not mistaken, I do recall him being on the lineup a couple of times when I did watch the Blinn College play against TSC, for example.
Definitely. So there's a lot of players that didn't get a lot of minutes last season, but that have the potential to make an impact this season. And obviously, you guys know a lot more about that than I do. But let's make it quick because we've already been here an hour recording. But let's go ahead and talk about today's signing that caught everybody on the blind side. So obviously, last week was the last batch of returning players that were announced for the Red Crowns. Yesterday, the team teased a very good, important announcement that was going to be made at 9:56 a.m. #956, right? And I remember yesterday we were playing iRacing Arcade and we were like, okay, what's your guess as to what that announcement is going to be, right? And obviously Jacob, I believe you said, a player announcement. Ray, I think you mentioned, what did
I
you
went
mention?
out of the box. I went out of the box and said, uh, like some feature improvement to Harlingen Field based on the conversations that I've had with Kobe in the past, and since the initial clue gave it away, like soccer jersey, soccer goal. Well, like that's where my guess went to.
And so obviously, and I was actually leaning towards the player as well, right? Uh, And then lo and behold, 9:56 comes along this morning, and all of a sudden I see. By the way, I loved the that little video that they made. Whoever the actor was for the Amazon delivery guy, that was hilarious. Like he goes to HEB Park, realizes they didn't pick up the package, and he just like throws his hat in disgust and stuff like that, right? But it was interesting, right? Because it was the first location that he drops off the box was at Brownsville Riviera High School, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yep, off of Ruben Torres Boulevard. Yes.
Just one quick thing to say. Brownsville, please just repave that road. Just please, just restripe it. That's all I'm asking. Because you can't see it when at nighttime. You couldn't even see it in that video where the line was. I didn't know where the middle line was for that street. Point is, that's all I wanted to say. Just restripe it, please. For crying out loud. It's been years.
Right. So obviously the delivery driver drops off the package at Brownsville Riviera High School. Nobody picks it up, right? Picks it up. Next place he goes to, if I'm not mistaken, was at
the UTRGV. Soccer track.
Yeah, so he goes to UTRGV's track and field and soccer stadium, right? Drops off the package there. Nobody picks it up, grabs the package. Third location he goes to HB Park. Now, I refuse to call it Vicar Stadium. Goes to HB Park, drops off the package. Nobody picks it up. He's all pissed off. Like, why the hell is nobody picking up my package, right? Then drops off the package, Harlingen Field, right? Leaves it there. Then you see in the background a black car coming in. Somebody gets down, picks up the package. Then lo and behold, next scene comes in. Cello turns around and it's like Isidro Martinez is the newest signing for the RGV Red Crowns. And I'm just like, what? I texted Kobe. I'm like, I was not expecting this at all. Right? Like, this is a player that played for the Toros, that played for now dead. Yeah, UTRGV. I mean, played for the now dead Tormenta, played for Colorado Hellstorm, played for Union Omaha in USL, League One and in championship with the Toros, right? Now, all of a sudden, he's going to be playing for the Red Crowns in the league for clubs. Like, out of all the signings that I was thinking that could be made, that was like not even within the realm of possibilities on my mind.
Things you did not expect to see in your bingo card for 2026.
No,
for the RGV Red Crowns. That was not on my bingo card. Now, I know Jacob has that look like, I know something you don't. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say this because, like I go back to it and I was thinking, okay, it's gonna be because we were Birdie might have told Red Crown might have told us something before a long while back that they may be getting a Toros player. Of course, this was the ex-Toros player to be exact. This was the ex-Toros player. But my first guess, and I even told the person this, I'm like, oh, Tyler Derrick makes perfect sense. We go back to having a goalkeeper. He's going to help out JC. JC's coming back. I can feel it. That feeling. It's kind of far off, but
he just wanted his body double back.
I really did. I wanted that guy back. I wanted him back, even if he was a coach. But yeah, I'm very glad that it's Isidro Martinez, Mr. State Champ, Mr. UTRGV, Mr. Oh my goodness, so many goal scoring, so many. He kept a lot of players calm too. Well, let's be real. It's so great. This is a player that UTRGV, that the Red Crowns need, that players from UTRGV need to have around him, is to have that success, to have him know how to play this game very, very well, for him to teach, others, okay, this is what you need to do in this situation to be that leader. The RGV Red Crowns, were missing this piece because, yes, there are chances that there are going to be some players that will most likely not be returning, but that's okay because, they're just in England, of course. I have a feeling, again, this is just coming from just having a feeling that I don't expect to see a big goal scorer come back. I don't expect to see a big saver come back in general because they're just in different lifespans than, of course, these players that are coming through. That's Jack Crichton and Zach Hargreaves. It's just, again, a feeling that I have. This is not official. This is my opinion that this might happen. But my whole point is, now you have this leader. You have this leader that's played in these very difficult moments. Has been to the USL Championship playoffs with, of course, Ron freaking Patel, which is somebody else that he was under. Point is, New Mexico United. This is a player that is very successful. That when somebody has a bad game in general, he's going to be able to really take control of a situation. Or if they're down 2-0 at halftime, he's going to be able to take control of the situation. That's what I like about this signing and how great. Yes, we're talking a lot of praise about Cello, Isidro Martinez. But again, he's played at those levels that this team wants to get to. They're not even at. He's played in the USL Open Cup as well. So there are stretches to why we're going to see why we saw this signing, and why we might see more signings down the line of newer players that have the level of this exactly. We don't know again, but this is my assumption of how everything is going to happen. Am I going to be right? Probably not, because this bingo card is absolutely crazy. Then again, I have been known to predict well due to the fact of March Madness 2 times in a row, second place, baby. Let's go.
He just wanted to flaunt that. He was trying to figure out a way to flaunt that.
There you go. There you go.
Well, for me, as I was building these player return profiles, like I said, I probably saw 6, maybe 7 starters out of all this. But today, I just confirmed my 8th starter for opening day lineup. I'm working on a small little graphic on what my potential starting 11 is going to be, but I'd like to see a little bit more signings because based on my notes build and based on what just happened today, and now I have to like scrap that sheet of paper and and scrap build another one again.
Yeah, and honestly, like I think that having another chance creator with Cello at this level, like it is going to be a huge boost, to the talent level. And hopefully, I mean, we were close to making playoffs last season. I mean, this and other of these new signings are probably going to be the difference that'll get us into the playoffs for the League for Clubs come next season. And that's what I'm hoping. It's playoffs or busts in my eyes, So I think these are the signings that shows that this team is going to be serious, right? In everything that they've got their eyes on. We talked about the upgrades to the stadium. Now we've got a former pro, coming into the fold with the Red Crowns in Isidro Martinez, and helping with that chance creation for this team. So honestly, I'm really looking forward to see what Cello brings to the table, especially considering that I think for the last couple of months he's been inactive. Like he hasn't shown up, according to Transfer Market. He hasn't shown up to the bench with Union Omaha, which was his last team in the USL League One, right? So hopefully this will be I guess you could say like his redemption, and a way where he can kind of get back up and get his career started once again and pick back up where he left. So will be interesting to see how he is going to be able to, how he fits in with Coach Reyna's vision for this roster, right? But definitely excited for the opportunity to have Cello once again here in the Rio Grande Valley. So I guess we'll see what happens. But before we go, guys, you guys have any last thoughts on this upcoming season or what we talked about today?
Yeah, I have last thoughts really quickly. I mean, Ray kind of mentioned it, but I'm going to mention this really quickly. Yeah, we're probably going to win 6 or 7 games. Yeah, 6, 7. Just wanted to really do that. But anyways, in general, A great prediction that I do have is that yes, there are going to be more signings, and another signing will be yes, we're missing that quota for an Englishman. So expect at least one Englishman to come um into town. Like I said, probably not going to be one of the two that we had before, but we're probably going to have a new one just due to the fact of, remember, we technically do kind of have a partnership with the team overseas, but that's, of course, not really been talked about. Point is, we could see a player going over after a season down to the RGV to want to play maybe after what the first or second match, I should say. I expect to see a lot more signings still, and I expect practice to start up very, very soon. I think it's very close to that in general. I mean, we're talking about the 16th of May being the first match. We're talking about the 1st of May being literally next Friday, a week from this Friday. So, again, that's coming up very quickly. We're talking about IndyCar being this is how I do scheduling, by the way. IndyCar having the Grand Prix of Indianapolis not too long from now, and when that happens, it's just all of a sudden they're at the track. At the track, that means it's May. That means it's May to me. But the point is, just very, very, very excited for this season. I'm looking forward to every single player that has come back so far and looking forward to more of these. And again, seeing how Isidro Martinez will fit perfectly into this roster, into this lineup, and seeing who else they can add with it. Because, again, the feeling, it's almost always right that there's going to be some special players coming through even after we see these lists of players in a week.
I would not be surprised if there are more low Valley kids signing with this core group of the Red Crowns, with relation to new signings. Uh, I'm not dismissing Englishmen, but there are a few D1 players that could sneak their way into this roster, and that's probably where my prediction is going at. And as for my final thoughts, I mean, I like what this club is doing to keep the interaction going, keeping the wheels in motion with everything that they've got going on. It's nice to see for a pace of change, and I'm hoping to scoop up a shirt that Edson is wearing very soon.
I think for me, like I said, I'm really excited for this season. Really excited to continue building up on what we started, what we laid the foundation in 2025, whether both on the field and off the field, right? So if you guys that have not gone to a Red Crowns game, be sure to pencil at least one game this season to go down to Harlingen, Texas, go down to Harlingen Field and be sure to catch a Red Crowns game there. Or if not, you can always tune into our broadcast, right? That is gonna be we're gonna continue this season. Jacob and I being the broadcasting partnership, of the play-by-play and analysis for the Red Crowns official, by the way. So I've got a lot of stuff that I can't wait to show y'all, like that I've been working on in the off season in regards to the broadcasting. These guys have already seen it, but hopefully it'll be something that you guys will enjoy. Like I just have like like all three of us at at some point, like you know we've put our heart and soul and dedication in one way or another towards this team. We're putting in like nuestro granito de arena, like we say in Spanish, to make this team like as good as possible, and try to make it stand out from the rest of the teams in the league for clubs in that aspect, right? So we're very dedicated to this team, and I can't wait to show y'all what from our end, what is new for 2026, right? And also we will be having Down in the Valley pregame shows on the official broadcasts of the games, of the home games, right? So, tune in, to the broadcast, even if you're there at the stadium, right? And be sure to check out, 30 minutes before the game, the Down in the Valley pregame show, right? So that'll be something that I hope you guys will enjoy. We haven't disappeared. We're still here one way or another, right? So really looking for a really exciting 2026. But guys, if that is going to be it for today, if nobody else has anything that they want to add, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It was a really, really good show. I know it's been a long time since we've done one of these. So it's good. So it's good to be back, right? And hopefully you guys learned a little bit more about all of these news that have been happening. Kind of like a quick a recap of some of the biggest news regarding the Red Crowns going into 2026, right? But guys, I mean, we're what, 3 weeks away? 3 weeks away from
a bit like that, yeah.
Yeah, from the home opener, right? So we're in the final stretch, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just hope that there's no Cody Wares that'll spin out before the white flag that'll make us go into overtime. If you guys watch NASCAR, you'd understand the reference, but it's like hopefully we're not the Denny Hamlins in that situation.
6 laps down.
Yeah, hopefully the weather's great, man. That's my worry in general.
Yeah, I think we'll be
fine. We've gotten the rain already, so that's a good sign.
Yes, let's keep it that way.
Let's keep it this way where it's just rain all the way up until literally the week or the day 2 days before. Rain all the way up until like 2 days before. And then just don't rain up until probably after, just rain on the off weeks of where they're not home. There we go. Just rain on the off weeks when we're not home, and it sounds like a plan. But anyways, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's gonna be a blast of a season. There's like Edson said, there's so many surprises. There's so many surprises from the team that haven't even been announced for, I'm sure, like week in and week out with stuff like that. Just the atmosphere will be uncanny, if I had to say so myself. I'm looking forward to it. And one thing that I've learned is, like, getting older, this is one thing. You start to enjoy the Valley a lot more. So the people who are saying, oh, Harlingen, oh, it's a dump, it's a great place in the end. It actually is. It's where the stadium is. Go to the game. Go to the game and watch us at the same time. Trust me, you'll have fun. It'll be a blast and worth every single penny. So yeah, just up the Red Crowns and let's go.
But Ray, where can they find you at?
You can find me on YouTube at South Texas Border Sports, x.com South Texas Border Sports, and on Facebook South Texas Border Sports. And gentlemen, thanks again for having me along. I hope that the next time we have a show, I'll be having some better news to share. But right now, I'm just gonna let time and the cards play its course, and hope to have some news to share with you.
Find me on all of my platforms from YouTube and Twitter and also Instagram at Jacob Young Racing. And yeah, you can find me there. Like I said, great content. Break the news, a little bit of a breakdown every single time a new signing gets told. I make sure to wear my bucket hat every single time because it's just a fantastic bucket hat in general, and I love repping it. A shout out to everybody that does so well for that, and you can find me at Jacob Young Racing.
You can find me at Iochoa_8 on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads. Blue Sky I have, but I never used it. It's pretty much long and forgotten. You can obviously I do have a YouTube channel, Aochoa 956. But obviously the main one is this one, the Down in the Valley podcast. You can find us obviously here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Down in the RGV. And, so be sure to, like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so, and be sure to click on that bell icon so you'll receive notification every time we're live, every time we post a video, right, you'll get a notification so you can watch all of our content. But guys, that is going to be it for tonight. Thank you so much for your support, and we will see you all in the next episode of the Down in the Valley podcast. Have a good night.